So now it's time to design the accordion pieces that hold the tunnel book together. An accordion book has, the binding is 2 accordion pieces. See if I can sketch this out here. That are on the left and the right side, and then the panels attached to one side of each one of those pleats, something like that. So in my book, I have 5 frames or panels plus the back. So I'll start at the back, and I know that when I go to put this together, what I want to do is put the back paper on the inside of this accordion pleat and the chipboard on the back, because that's how I'm going to put a cover on this, and that's how I'm going to attach the cover. So here's my back. This is the back piece of the accordion that's going to attach to my back. So then I'll come and I'll make this first zigzag. Now so this is the back that's coming in here, and then this is going to be panel 5. Now when all the other panels come in, they're thick. They have chipboard plus decorative paper plus cardstock. So instead of just coming straight back with the accordion, I want to allow a little space for that whole panel to fit in. So I'm going to design 1/8 of an inch to come in there every time I come back and forth. So here, so now that's 4, 3, 2, and then the last panel, 1. Now in the last panel, oops, I forgot to make my little 1/8 of an inch right there. The last panel doesn't need it because it will go right on top of this whole system. So let's figure out what we want to do here. I know I want to extend this back one a little bit. I think about 1 inch. All of these other ones should be 1/2 an inch because that's the size that I made the frames on the left and the right. And so then we have the 1/8 inch here and the 1/2 inch here. So we've got 1 inch at the back, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 1/8 inch equals 4/8 inch equals 1/2 an inch. And then we have how many at 1/2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times 1/2 equals 5. So the total of this is going to be 6 1/2 inches. So I'm going to score. When I score, I'll do 1 inch, and then I'll do 1/2 and 1/2 and 1/8, 1/2 and 1/2 and 1/2 and 1/8, kind of like that. So I'll be back once I've got those pieces done. So I have my 2 accordion bindings made, and I took my time to make sure that I established all the folds really well. And while I was doing that, I thought about, how am I going to put this together? How am I going to attach the panels to the accordion binding? Should I use wet glue, or should I use strong adhesive like score tape? And I wanted to use score tape, but I was concerned, could I get things aligned properly without causing myself a lot of stress and making sure everything got in there straight. And what I realized was that I think I can do that by each time I put a panel in to the binding, if I hold it against the front part of the zig, you can see the white score tape kind of peeking up behind there. And then once it's aligned right, go back and squish it together there. then it will be aligned properly and I can use that score tape and burnish it down. So that's my plan for attaching all of the panels. So I want to make sure that I get them in the right order, and I'm going to work from back to front. So I have them in the right order here, and so I'm going to just flip this stack off around so that it's in reverse order, and I'm just moving it to the side so I can work. I'm going to do the left side first and then come back and do the right side. Now, this back panel right now is just the decorative paper. I will put the chipboard on when I do the cover. And so this one, you know, because it's first and it's just it's not the thickness, I might not have to use this scheme that I developed, but I think I will anyway, just to make sure I can feel that everything is in there properly. And now I'm putting it together and getting my bone folder and getting that burnished down. So now I have my second panel. I'll take the score tape off of that left edge. I know it's going to go right in here. And I'm holding it tight against that edge, but I'm not pushing it back into the fold. And now I am. So I have it tight up against that edge, and now I can take it down here. Again, use my bone folder. I'll come from this side. Make sure that that got on there. So I'll just continue on. I don't think this will take too long, so I think I'll keep the camera going. Except for I just took off the right side of this one instead of the left side. So let me put that back on. When you're working in reverse, sometimes it's easy to get confused. So take your time. Again, I'm pushing that firmly into that crease, and then putting it down. I come with my bone folder, being careful around that decorative leaf there. And then come on this side. And burnishing. Starting to come together. Alright, pay attention to my left side here now. Come into the third space. Oh, good. This is coming together quite easily following that scheme. Be careful not to get overconfident at this point and think, oh, you know, and not take my time to do things properly. So I'm just going to take a minute and reestablish here. And now the second panel. And I'm putting good pressure all the way up and down on this so that it gets properly into that crease. And now, again, watching those decorative elements. Being careful now that I have more pages on here. Now obviously I won't have that same kind of access when I get to the other side, so we'll have to figure out another way to burnish over there. And so here we are now for the final panel. Make sure I get the left side. Now I want to make sure I line that up right with that edge. I don't have a fallback for this, so I'm just taking my time there. And you can see it's starting to come together. Let me just burnish this one. Okay, so here we have our left side all done. Let's just kind of squash that together, see how it's doing. See if we can make sure things are staying pretty straight there. Just giving it some pressure, trying to make sure everything, you know, stays straight, because this will stand up, so we want to make sure that everything is pretty level. It's kind of going off to the left, but hopefully once we get the right side on, that'll get corrected, or else we'll figure out what to do. Alright, so now let's get the other side. Again, I'm going to work from the back. We'll see how this goes. I like to think about it before I put that first one on and take the score tape off. So my plan is for this one that I'll take the score tape off, stick it into that crease right there, and then stick it down. So let's see how that goes. Alright, kind of taking my time here. I think I'll stand it up though, just so I make sure everything is staying level. I got that well into that crease, and I'll stick it down. I can still at this point carefully get in here with my bone folder. Sometimes if I've got something fragile like that, I'll take a piece of patty paper and protect all that decorative stuff with the patty paper. So, alright, so onward. Just trying it out there for a moment first. Now taking the score tape. Now I'll expect that this one will bow a little bit, and hopefully I don't need to put the cover on at this point. I'm just stopping to think about that for a second. You know what, I'm going to stop and put the cover on, just because it'll be a lot easier to burnish and make sure that it has good contact before I continue. So let me get those things ready and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. I took a moment to add the chipboard backing to the back of the book. It's just a piece of chipboard covered with decorative paper, and I'm glad I did take a moment to do that, because then I could easily reach in here and make sure I burnish that down completely. So now let's get back to attaching our pages. So take off this one, and we'll go back to our scheme over here of getting it in the right place, making sure everything is straight and proper. A little bit trickier now on this second side, but still doable. Make sure. Pushing it in from over here on the left side. I think you can see my hand coming in there. And now I'm just going to squish it all together. I think it came out pretty well. Put it in there. Burnish. Alright. Next one. I used 3/8 inch score tape on here, on each panel, so that I wouldn't have any danger of it showing. This is where it's important to make sure those folds are well established in there. There we go. Come in here and burnish that too. Move on to the next one. Make sure that fold is well established. There's a little bit of tension on the book right now, so it's a little bit challenging, but not overly so. Okay. Come in here and burnish that one. Getting closer. Score tape to cooperate. Make sure that fold is established. Stick that in. All the way down. Okay. We're just about at the moment of truth here. One more to attach. All right. Now again with this one, I want to line up the edges. I think I'll put the release tape back on here a little bit so that I only work one. So what I did was I'm just coming back in here and putting the release tape back on so that I don't have to worry about the bottom sticking prematurely as I get the top lined up here. So there's the top lined up, and now I can take my time and get the bottom properly placed. Let's see, it's a little bit high, but I think it'll be all right. Let's stick it down. One last burnish on this side. Let's see what we got here. So there's the tunnel book. See all the layers? See how it went together with the zigzags here at the top. Going to put a cover on it that will open with like a gatefold, and I'll be back when I have the pieces set for that.